Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. And today what we're going to be doing is working on Alchemortis. Big shocker there, big shocker. But I'm running out of stuff to get done for the playtest. A lot of the stuff is not going to be super interesting to work on the stream. For example, updating the sound effects, that's more appropriate to do off stream. Any bugs related to music, that's going to be better done off stream as well. I do want to track down these orphan nodes. I don't know where those are coming from. And I do want to add an obelisk power for the new grow board event. And then allow opening the combat log after the final boss. I mean, those are basically the only things left in the to-do list. All of that said, you know, I'm certainly not against adding any new content to the game before the playtest. Again, the playtest is going to happen near the end of this month, and it's definitely not going to take me, you know, however long, a week and a half to get through this to-do list here. So there's still plenty of time to add some more content to the game. So we may add some more reagents, we may add some more cards. We'll see. We'll see where the morning takes us, I guess. But before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wish listing. So if you would do that, I would appreciate it. And then also you could support the game on Patreon. Again, the way that the playtest is going to work is you have to be an active subscriber on Patreon of any of the 2 tiers when the playtest goes live. And I will send you a Steam key to the email address that you signed up for Patreon with. And that Steam key will grant you access to the playtest. The playtest will be available for Patreon members for 1 week. And then after that week is over, the playtest will be open for the public for a week. So Patreon members essentially get 2 weeks of access to the playtest because they get the week of early access plus the week of public access, whereas everyone else only gets that 1 week to playtest. And I've teased before, I think I'm going to be doing a little bit of an extra incentive for providing feedback in the Discord. But I will... yeah, maybe I'll have to think about that some more. Anyway, and then I also have my Udemy courses available for sale. Every purchase of this course helps me out a lot, but you can also learn how to build complete games in the Godot engine. So definitely check those out if you're interested. You can also join the Discord. That is linked in the description below. All the ways you could support me are linked in the description below, so would appreciate if you took a look at those. And let's get right into it. Hello, Jehar, welcome back. Good morning, Emerson. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. King Burger, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Like the live, so it might be pushed out to more people. Yes, please like this video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Anyway, so what sounds interesting to work on for? First, I do need to add a clickable recenter camera button to the map. I don't think that this is going to be that difficult to do. However, the problem is I don't know what to make it look like. That's the big problem. Hello, the Doll Light. Welcome back. Good to see you. So the problem is if I pan the camera, so the camera stays locked to the player, generally speaking. But if I pan the camera, it obviously gets unlocked from the player. And so what I need on this screen is I need a way for the player to just click a button to recenter the camera. If I press space, that works to recenter. However, there's no prompt to do so. And I have a goal with this game to make the game completely playable with just the mouse. So having hotkeys is good, of course. We've got the tab to open the inventory here, space to recenter the camera, but we're going to need to add buttons for that, or a button for that. So I think, I mean, that's going to be relatively simple, I think. You know, we just got to show a button down here somewhere. And, yeah, we just got to show a button probably down here when the camera is not locked to the player. I just don't really know what... kind of button to use. That's all. Anyone who provides feedback gets $1 million. No. One big back. No. I think you could try putting it under the inventory button or somewhere around there. An arrow the player can click on the edge of the screen that appears, reacts to the relative position would be cool. Maybe a compass. Yeah, those are all good ideas. So if it was an arrow, it would follow where the player is, I guess. We could do that, potentially. So it could be an arrow. The problem with making it an arrow is that if I want the arrow to be on the edges of the screen, for example, that would have to be dynamic. Oh no, I guess it wouldn't. I guess I could just have it point that way or something. I don't know. Perhaps a map with a location on it. A compass is a good idea. Although, yeah, I don't know. Compass could work. If I just did a button, that wouldn't look that great, and it also wouldn't stand out that great either. Let me just check something real quick. Did they have compasses in the medieval period? Oh, they did. Interesting. Okay. Of course, I'm referring to magnetic compasses. I know that people navigated by stars for a very long time, but it could be cool to do a compass, maybe. Maybe you could even have the needle dynamically point to the player position relative to the player. That's what I was thinking too, yeah. Maybe it only appears if you're far away from the middle. Yeah, that could work. Let's see. So firstly, let's just do this. I'll grab a screenshot of that, and then we can open up a sprite. I don't know if this is going to go well, but we're going to figure it out. Alchemortis. What? Alchemortis. So we got this screenshot here. Assets, UI. New folder. Compass mockup. Okay. So we've got this. So if I were to make a compass here, gotta make it big enough to be clickable. Okay. And so if we did something like a needle, let me put my symmetry up here. Okay. I don't really like... Excuse me. I don't really like this. Hold on a second. Oops. This might look weird, but let's see. It's probably all right. Okay, so I could get rid of this. Let's try it again. Something like that. Obviously, we can make it a little bit more ornate. Also, maybe I'll just... Yeah. Actually, let's make this whole thing that color. And then here, we'll do that. That'll work, maybe. But for the background, let's see. Yeah, maybe something like that could work. Obviously, we want to make it look a little bit more ornate than this, but just kind of doodling for now. Am I doing this on the wrong layer? Okay. Let's call this one needle. This... Let's do middle, and then over here, we'll do outer. So yeah, I figure if we take this general shape, could also what was I saying? I have no idea. Take this general shape, make it a little bit more ornate, a little bit more decorative. And that might work. Let me just see what this would look like if I do a little bit of highlighting here. Let me think. I may want to make this even thinner. Doesn't look quite right either. I think that probably looks a little bit better though. Well, we can see how that goes. I finished the non-extension part of the 2D Survivors course and found it extremely helpful. Your style is similar to how I build design systems at work, so it was nice to learn in the game dev context. Excellent. Glad you liked it. Glad you enjoyed it. Hello, Light Tiramisu. I've been extending the game with my own features and generally been able to do whatever I want without having to go back to watch the vids just by following the docs, so thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you for taking the course. Very much appreciate that. Every purchase of that course helps me out a lot, so thank you for that. Your streams show up on my recommended all the time, like your stream is calling to me, so I'm here. Well, welcome, Pix. Always good to have you. And yes, let that siren song of the Firebelly stream call to you. I'm on Patreon, so I can't leave a proper review, unfortunately. Oh, I see. Well, that's all right. I mean, the Patreon support definitely helps a lot. Definitely helps a lot. Looks like an eyeball. Yeah, that's good. I think you should make the part that rotates a separate sprite. Yeah, the needle will rotate. So I think with the idea, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have... I don't know if I want to make it work like an actual compass would work, because then I'd have to do some like spatial reasoning. But what I will do is maybe I'll just make the needle point to the player, and I'll give it some like... some bounciness so it feels like a magnetic needle. So it's not just going to just like linearly lerp. It's gonna like rapidly rotate around and like go past the point a little bit and like spring back. You know what I mean? I think that part is going to be fine. The real challenge is going to be making this match the overall style of the game while also retaining my attempt to make it look like a compass. And actually, maybe... Yeah, so I think... Yeah, the question is... the question is, how am I going to decorate it so that it looks like the rest of the art? Looks like a compass. Oh, I like it. Feels like it's been years since I last saw art. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. If that needle spins, the shading might look kind of funky. Right. That is a good point. Well, it doesn't need to... We'll see how it works in game, and if I need to change it, I will change it, but I think it'll probably be okay. But we'll see. Do I want to do some kind of shading in here? Oops. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer anyway. Lock the needle. What happens if I just... Oops. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just trying to get the design down here. So yeah, the outer part is really going to be the problem. Figuring out what to do, how to make this look decorated like the rest of the elements in the game. Let's see. I mean, we could always do something like... I should use a different color for this. Let's just use green for now so I can actually see what I'm doing. Trying to think, if I was holding a compass, this would have to be over here. So I'm just trying to, maybe, you know, we could do something like wrap it in skeletal fingers. And that could basically work as the decoration. We could do that, and then maybe do something like this. Maybe instead of that, we could do... let me think. I'm just doodling. We're gonna see how this turns out. Very possible not gonna turn out that great, but... So obviously got to work on the colors here, but... So does that make sense? So if you imagine I'm grabbing the compass like this. Is that the right side? Yeah. So grabbing the compass like this. Actually, now that I think about it, well, let's see. I can't get the camera. Oh my gosh, I'm not a very good streamer. I don't know. Something like that. We could even just move these up a little bit. Maybe they need to be rotated slightly. Could even spread them out just a little bit. Now that is going to obscure some of the compass, but I think as long as I can generally see where the needle is at, probably be okay. Make this one a little bit thicker. Anyway, the woes of animating pixel art, yeah. a small button thingy. Looking forward to anything in Godot 4.6. Unity 4.6 started their golden era, so even symbolically it's exciting. No, there's nothing that I'm particularly excited about in 4.6. I'm excited generally that Godot keeps pumping out features and fixes, but yeah, nothing that I'm particularly looking forward to. Maybe bring out the out ring a bit closer in and have it cast a slight shadow on the right side of the middle, so that the middle appears to be a bit below the outer ring. Bring the outer ring a bit closer in. Oh yeah, I could do that. I think the thumb should be pointed up, not down. Yeah, I think that's what I was playing around with before. Maybe we do... Problem is, this angle here is a little bit weird. I guess it would have to come out this way. Bring this down a little bit. Or maybe... I mean, maybe it's just fine like that. Oh, that looks better. Here we go. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so there we go. We're getting there. I did not have a major new art piece on my bingo card for today, but I guess we're gonna do it. I think that generally looks good from like a composition standpoint. And you should still be able to see the needle turning around inside of it, even though it's going to be obscured somewhat by the bones and whatnot. But okay, so now what do I want to do with this? Do I want to make these actual... I probably don't want to make these white. And the reason is because that's not the style that I'm using for the sort of UI art pieces. They don't really use this white color, so this will probably have to be purple. Oops, we'll go from here to purple. And then I'm going to have to outline those in black. And then there's going to be the challenge of making this actually look like bone, but I think we're getting there. This part is also going to have to be a slightly different color, which is okay. But we're getting there for sure. Now the problem is I can't really do much highlighting here. Actually, that'll work. That'll work. And then do I want to do something like that? Yeah, we'll play around with it, whatever. Anyway, I think it's looking okay, generally speaking, this composition, so I guess we'll just start with trying to highlight things. Good morning, Michael. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. You got it. Good morning, Breckheck. Also, welcome, TK. I don't think I said welcome. For me, I usually grip a compass with my middle index and ring on the top and pinky and the thumb on either side. Could try adding the other part of the compass that flips it open. Yeah, I didn't want to go that complicated with it because this is just going to be like a static button, basically. I think the thumb's at the wrong angle. I think I fixed that. I think that's an old chat. Sorry, I get locked in. Hello, Clickertail. It's time for Game Dev once again. Hello, Jackie Daytona. If it's meant to be a skeleton holding it, then I think you could keep it as white for the fingers, but use the orange and red colors to add in shadows. Well, the thing is, like, I kind of have two color palettes for the game. They are using the same color palette, but when I'm making UI elements, I'm basically only using these four colors. So black, dark purple, purple, and red. And that's just kind of like what I fell into when I was making the game. So you look at the map here, like there is some orange in this, which is actually inconsistent. So I should probably remove that. But, you know, if you look at like the combat node icon, there's only those four colors there. And then when there's interactive elements like the mouse cursor, this is when it uses more of the colors, typically speaking, and all of the card art and whatnot. But the main menu is a good example. The main menu is only using those four colors, I guess with the exception of this flame here and the title there. But I've kind of just fallen into that style. And so I don't want to make the compass here look radically different by using white and whatnot. So yeah, that's just how it goes. I think visual consistency is very important. I'm just playing around here, I don't know. Play around with the idea of making this darker over here. Like it's more in shadow. I mean, maybe I could get away with, let's see, because I do need like knuckles here, kind of. So I could do this. Yeah, that'll work. Let's see. Yeah, that should be fine. This one's already like a knuckle down here, so I don't need to worry about that so much. Yeah, we'll mess with the highlighting a little bit. I don't know if the highlighting is super good here. That looks all right, I suppose. Might make this one a little bit thicker. Yeah, maybe that's all right. Yeah, that might be okay. Now, the problem with these over here is that they're a little bit flat. I wonder if just adding a little bit of highlighting here, wonder if that would do it. Just a little bit. And then here, yeah, maybe something like that. I think that looks decent. It's not gonna win any art awards, but it certainly looks all right. Okay, and then here, I'm just going to basically take this whole thing. Oops, I need to go to my outer ring here now. Why is this hover? Oh. Okay. I think we're getting there. I think we're getting there. What to do about this section? Actually, maybe that's okay. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's getting there. That's what's the most important. Yeah, I do think that this needs some more separation. Oh, that looks kind of good, actually. And then I can just... maybe do something like that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay. The inner portion here is a little bit weird, but I don't know if that's going to be solved. I wonder what happens. What if I just put this back to pure? No, it's got to have some highlighting, I think. It's got to have some highlighting. It's really this part that's kind of weird because it's got just that flat shading. but I may be able to just... I might be able to just do something like this. And then... Yeah, I don't really like that either. Oh wait, that kind of looks good. Maybe. Maybe not. What I could do is I could take these decorations, take this, and outline it another time. Give it a double outline. Let's see what that does. Is that going to make a noticeable difference? I kind of like that, actually. It puts more separation between this and the compass. Yeah, I think I like that. Now this needle is going to be spinning in here. I may need to make the needle smaller, but we'll see how it works. Honestly, I don't even need to make the needle spin. That's not something that I need to do. I could just show this compass and then just have the player click it. I think I do want to shrink this down a little bit though. So we're going to go to the needle here and we're just going to bring that down one and bring this down one. Yeah, I think that looks nicer. Okay, I think we're getting there. For my game, I'm doing visual inconsistency in a way that all looks consistent. There you go, that's a way to do it. I mean, there's games that, well, I don't know if you'd classify it that, what is it called? Oh shoot. It's that game by, what is it called? It's Consumer Soft Products. I think you know what I'm talking about, that first person shooter that's got like this crazy, weird art style and it looks kind of jumbled and inconsistent, but in a weird way, it's consistent. How did you learn Ace Pride? I'm starting now with zero art experience. Any recommendations? I have a pixel art tips video on this channel, Louis, where you can go and learn about the 5 pixel art tips that I learned that improved my art quality the most and the most rapidly. So you could check that out if you're interested. But the main way that I learned pixel art is just by going on YouTube and just looking up pixel art tutorials. Everything from, you know, color theory tutorials as it pertains to pixel art, though color theory is kind of like a universal thing you can know or that you can use for art. Learning just about how to approach pixel art, how to approach making the forms. And then I would also watch pixel art critique videos, from, mostly from Pixel Pete. He would take in a viewer submitted piece of art and he would critique it on stream. And watching him critique someone else's art was super helpful because I would look at the person's art that they submitted and be like, wow, that's really good. And then he would come in and say, yeah, that's good, but look at how much better it could be. And then he would tweak a bunch of stuff. And it's like, you know, that's kind of what opened my eyes to the difference that a single pixel can make or like a single group of pixels can make. So anyway, yeah, go on YouTube, look at the beginner pixel art tutorials, look up pixel art critique videos, watch pixel art time-lapse videos, and just kind of like study what is going on there and try to replicate that. Could you mirror the finger so it looks like it's being held with the left hand since the mouse pointer is the right hand? I could. Let's see. Now I'd have to redo the shading and everything, but I think that's a relatively minor detail. And the thing I like about this is that these fingers being on the left-hand side here are obscuring this left half of the inner part of the compass, which is good because I can't really do shading on that side and make it look nice. So just having those take up a good chunk of that space is nice. And then I have the highlighting on this side. If I flip them, then I end up with a bunch of just solid color space here, which I could address for sure, but I think I'll just keep it this way. I think it just looks nicer this way, even if it's not consistent. You know, it doesn't have to be his right hand. It could be a right hand that he found still attached to the compass on a battlefield or something. It was a good idea, though. Yeah, it was a good idea. I'm glad I at least previewed it and saw what that looked like. Hello, Defected. Welcome back. Snupbill, thank you for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Always appreciated. With the message yummers. Welcome back, Snupbill. Good to see you. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome, welcome. Have the thumb cast a shadow on the middle part. I could definitely do that. Hello, Ben. Welcome back. Good to see you. The left side, that is the one to flat shade of the darkest color. Leave it dark near the middle as the centerpiece is casting a shadow, but not fully. Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah. It reads better. Yeah, I like the double outline. Hope you have been well. I have been. How have you been? Thought it was supposed to be a clock this whole time. Compass makes more sense. Yeah, I think, yeah, we'll see. But of course, you'd still need to contact shadows where the hand touches it, so it could go either way. I got plenty of time lapses if you want. Yeah, I think, yeah, making maybe this a little bit darker in here. That's a good idea. Yeah, that works. And then somebody said to cast a shadow from the thumb. So I guess that would just be a matter of making that a little bit thicker there. Let me clean this up a little bit. Might as well just outline this stuff while I'm here. Actually, I don't know if that's appropriate. This outer ring is going to need an outline as well. Yeah, so I think with the shadow here, and then the thumb casting a slightly larger shadow there, I definitely think that looks good. Yeah. Okay, I think we're approaching quit while I'm ahead territory with this. Now, if the needle spins, that's going to be a problem. So I may not actually make the needle spin because that's going to mess up. That's going to mess up the shading on the needle itself. But also, there's going to be a bunch of weird stuff happening in the middle here that's not going to be all that great. So what I may do is I may just leave this as is and not have it and not have it rotate. I think that should be fine. Now the question is, do I want to make this slightly larger? Okay. Yeah, I think that looks better. Okay. Cool. Cool beans, as some might say. Make sure to shade the middle without the needle present in case you do make the needle spin. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. It's just going to add too much difficulty. Maybe in the future, but I think the picture's upside down with this finger positioning. Try grabbing something with a similar form and positioning your fingers in that way. I did, yeah. I already did that. I think it works. Do you use a mouse or tablet for your art? I use a mouse, yeah. Looking closer at the assets of inscription reveals that they're widely inconsistent, but it still reads very cohesively. Well, I think that in that case, it's cohesive because there's a lot of post-processing effects happening, which kind of gives the whole thing a very coherent look, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know too much about inscription. Require animating the whole thing, having an image index for whatever state it's in, yeah. It's a shader for Godot that auto-shades pixel art based on a set of coordinates. Prop out a scope, but cool idea. No, you weren't asking me, but I use a mouse for pixel art and pen for hand drawing. Yeah, I just use a mouse. I've never had any problems doing pixel art with a mouse. Because you're usually placing like one pixel at a time anyway. Okay. So yeah, I mean, minor critiques aside, whether this hand position is appropriate or whatever, the point is that this reads as a compass that's being held, right? So that's the main goal. I don't really feel the need to nitpick whether, you know, the hand is positioned properly. I mean, that is a feasible grip, I think. It maybe looks a little bit weird, but it's not like anatomically impossible, I don't think. Okay, so we're gonna just stick with that then. And yeah, we'll get this into the game. Firstly, let me commit what I got. Move that to recycle bin. Okay. Always love to just throw up a commit after I'm done with some art because I don't want to lose it. I don't want to draw this thing over again. Definitely not. Okay, so if I'm not going to make it spin, then I can just make this whole thing one piece of art. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and grab egads, that, and that. And we will export this as compass. And we're going to do selection, export. And there we go. So now if I go to my game here, we should have the compass here. Very nice. So it's all one piece of art. So now the next step here is we want to make that actually appear when the camera is not panned on the player. So the big problem is going to be where to put that. There's all kinds of valid places for it. So we've got the game UI, we've got the drawer UI. Probably in the game UI, if I were to guess. Maybe not. Maybe in game map instead. No. Maybe this is appropriate in the game UI here. So I'm going to create a new... Let's do a new scene. We're going to do a... What type of scene do I want to make this? Maybe I'll just make it a margin container so I can position it how I want. So we'll do recenter compass. Maybe I'll just call it map recenter button. Scenes, UI. New folder. Do I want to do that? I'll just put it here. That's fine. Map recenter button. Full rect. We will do mouse ignore. That's the wrong one. Mouse ignore. Post-processing definitely ties it together. Yeah. Okay, so we got the map recenter button. We're going to need a clickable control. And then under here, I'm going to put a node 2D. And then we're going to go ahead. Actually, I guess I could just make this a sprite. So let's get rid of this. Drag that in here. Okay. I guess we'll center it. I guess there's not really a reason not to center it. Actually, there is a reason not to center it. Okay, we'll do that. This is 37 by 41. So we will do that here. Transform. Where's my transform? Layout. Transform. Custom minimum size, 3741. And then what we'll do is we're going to do the container sizing, shrink center, and then shrink end. And what we'll do with this margin container here is we will just add a margin bottom. And we'll do something like 96 maybe. That might be too far up. Let's do 72. This clickable control here. Outline target is compass. Okay, I think that's basically all I need to do. Aside from, I obviously need to make this hide and show based on the camera state. So that's going to be the next thing to figure out here. But what I can do is I can put this into my game UI here. We will add the instance child scene map recenter button here. Oops. Oh, the game UI. Does this have a... This has a margin left of 103. Shoot. Maybe I can just do it... Do I want to do it in here? I don't know where to put this. Also, like some background stuff receives less love than the hero prop, so to speak. Daniel Mullins uses generic assets where he can, but puts a lot of effort into custom stuff where it counts. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, if you've got stuff that's just going to be in the background as decoration, maybe it's going to be affected by like a depth of field blur, it's going to be heavily shadowed, then I could definitely see getting away with just like using a bunch of random incoherent assets, because as long as they're made coherent by the fact that they're kind of, you know, shaded differently, or they're not really front and center, I could definitely see that working. So I'm using a LUT texture in my current prototype. It's so much easier to work with a restricted color palette in this way. Very nice. A lookup table texture, is that what it is? Map recenter button. So this is kind of not ideal, but map. I'll put the map recenter button here. All right, let's just see what that looks like in game when it's at that position there. Yes, okay. So we're gonna put this at that position. Yeah, I mean, it could probably go down a little bit more. Let's do just a little bit more down. Maybe even more down. Yeah, we could play around with that positioning. I might even go even more down. I wonder why it's not playing the tween initially. Is that the case for anything else? Is it not playing the tween when it first loads? No, it is. Wonder why that's not happening here. Yeah, it's not playing that start. Okay, so it's not playing that start tween, that outline tween until I hover over it, so I gotta fix that. But we'll figure it out. Okay, the major thing to figure out, let me write that down before I forget. Bug. I wonder if that would be a problem. Yeah, I think... Anyway, I'll figure it out. But we got to get this working so that it only appears when the camera is recenterable. So we're going to go ahead and do that. But first, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break. And so when I come back, we'll handle that. Maybe we'll fix that bug there. And we'll see what that does. That may... We'll see. That's going to take a good chunk of the remaining stream time that I have today, but we'll see. Maybe if we have time, we can do one of these other bugs here. But anyway, I'll be right back in 3 minutes and we will continue on. All right, I'm back. Hello, fat guy laughing. Which Kanban board software is this? This is Obsidian, the note-taking app Obsidian with the Kanban plugin installed. Highly recommend, especially if you're interested in keeping all of your data local and don't want to use a cloud provider for such a tool. I really like Obsidian. I think it's Yeah, I think it's great. Great note-taking app, lots of community plugins. You own all of your data. You can optionally sync to the cloud if you want to make it easy for yourself. Yeah, definitely recommend. Okay, let's take a look at where the camera panning is. And I have actually no idea where that is. This game is getting to the point now where I'm having trouble finding exactly which scene things are in. So where is that map panning at? I think I have, yeah, map input layer. So I think this is it here. Yeah, map input layer. So this is the code that handles all of the inputs to actually pan the camera. Where is the camera panning actually happening? So we have the camera target position. And then the camera target position is being used how? Map camera. Map camera is an export variable. So the map camera is being passed in. So there's the map camera. That's being passed in as an export variable here. And then that map input layer is modifying the camera position based on the inputs. Now I'm actually wondering, I'm almost wondering if the recenter button should be in here then. No, actually I don't think that will work. No, the recenter button can't be there because the recenter button needs to be in a canvas layer. So the recenter button is fine where it is. The thing that I will need to do though is I'm going to need to know when this state changes, and I don't have any signals coming out of this class here. So I guess, so we have recenter camera here. What is this doing? State none. What are my states? We have state none, state keyboard pan, state mouse pan, state controlled, state disabled, and state free cam. What is state free cam doing here? Okay, so state free cam, that is a state where I'm not actually panning it, but yeah, that's a state where I'm not actually panning it, but it's disconnected from the player. I think that's what that is. So state none is, this is basically locked to the player position. State keyboard pan, that's just when I'm using WSD to pan the camera. So this is when when I have active keyboard inputs, that's when that state is entered. State mouse pan is when I'm actively dragging the mouse. State controlled is for when I need to animate the camera to certain node positions based on some event happening. So this is where the camera is moving, but the player does not have control over that movement. State disabled, I actually don't know what state disabled is. Okay, so state disabled is basically it just locks to the player and doesn't accept any input whatsoever. And so the difference between state none and state disabled is that I can go from the none state into one of these other states with input. And state disabled is I can't do anything. The camera is just locked to the player, and wherever the player goes, the camera is going to go. So I think it enters this state disabled state when the travel enters. Yeah, travel entered here. So basically, I think all I need to do is when it's in the state free cam, I need to enable that mouse, that map recenter camera button, and when it leaves the state free cam, I can just hide that because the free cam is the only state where you're actually going to be able to click the button anyway. And if you're in the none state, you're already going to be locked to the player position, I believe. Yeah. So we really just need signals for when this signal public delegate void free cam entered event handler. And then we're going to do signal public delegate void free cam exited event handler. I think we just need those two signals. We're going to do free cam enter state free cam. and then leave state free cam. Alrighty. So private void enter state free cam. We're just going to do emit signal free cam entered. And then when we leave that state, emit signal free cam exited. Okay, I think that's all the change that we need to make here. Now the problem is, how am I going to get that signal emission all the way to the map recenter button? That's going to be the tricky part. So in my run manager here, the map recenter button is here, but the game map is here. But it's not just the game map, it's the map container in here, and then the map input layer is the one emitting the signal. So there's a couple of options here. I could just pass that signal up through the map container, and then through the game map, and then through the to here. The other thing that I could do is I could expose the map input layer from the game map here. So I could make a well, I already have the map container as public in here. So I could take this map input layer and expose that as well. So I could just connect directly to it as long as I have a map container reference. So that is also an option. Another option is to just make it a global event. So I could just put it inside of my game events as something that could happen. You know what I might do actually? I could make another auto load called UI events that is specifically for like global UI events to happen. What do I want to do? Do I want to do that? Man, it is nasty out here. White out conditions. I can't even see 20 feet out my window. Glad I'm inside. Yikes. I have it, just don't use it often. Hello, Pragyon, welcome back. Good to see you. I don't know what to do here. Maybe I will just expose this. Public, and then we'll do map input layer, and then we'll do get private set. And then what I can do in my map recenter button here is I could do export private game map, and then on ready, we are going to set visible equal to false. Then we're going to do game map, map container, map input layer dot free cam entered plus equals on free cam entered, on free cam exited, visible equals true, visible equals false. Okay. Let's build this. And then what I can do in my map recenter button is I could just pass a reference to that game map there. So I grab this, grab the game map, assign it there. Let's see what happens. So yeah, so that will disappear if I'm actively panning anything. So if I'm panning the camera, and then I can click this. Now that actually does need to recenter the camera, so actually I wonder if it would look more natural if it stayed visible, but maybe not. And if I walk here, that will disappear. Okay. Hello, Fire Glue. Dropping in just to say thank you so much for the incredibly helpful content. Stoked to watch this VOD once I get back from work today. Happy streaming. Thank you, Fire Glue. Very much appreciate that. Thank you for the $5. That's very generous. Thank you, thank you. Very much appreciated. And thanks for stopping by. And I'm glad that you're enjoying the VODs and finding them helpful. And yeah, thank you again. All right. So yeah, we need to make this clickable now. Clickable control dot clicked plus equals on clicked. This is actually going to work out great. I think this is good that I did it this way, because now what I can do is I can do recenter camera. Oh, the problem is force recenter camera. Why is there a difference between recenter camera and force recenter camera? This force recenter camera doesn't do anything. Maybe I had some code in there previously. Actually, I kind of do want to see why that's the case. Maybe it's just a thing that I didn't clean up. File history. Yeah, as far as I can tell, this actually doesn't do anything, so we're just gonna get rid of that. We'll move this up. Make this public. Okay. And then a map recenter button, recenter camera. Okay. Let's see if that works. Also, give me just 1 second. I need to go check something real quick. All right, I'm back. Maybe just make the compass fade in and out instead of just immediately appearing, disappearing, so it's not so jarring every time you make a slight adjustment to the map position. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, fade in, fade out is a good idea. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Before I do that, though, I want to figure out why this is not working, this clickable control. I mean, everything here is working, so that's good. So add recenter camera button. So all of that is good. There is a problem, though, with my clickable control, which is that it's not starting start clickable tween here. So where is this being called? On input enabled. If is mouse input disabled, is it not doing this? Oh, I see. I guess I don't really need this here. Why do I have this? Start clickable tween. I think I can probably just remove this. I don't remember why I added that, but I don't think it's going to harm anything. So now I should see that the map... Yeah, that thing there is working just fine. So now it's doing the outline animation, which is good. So now we want to fade it in. Okay. Goodness gracious, it is so windy here. Let me see if this wind is going to die down. Ugh. Well. Anyway. So yeah, fade in and fade out. So let's go to the map. Recenter button. We'll just go ahead and access that as a unique name. We'll grab a reference to that. Node private sprite 2D. Compass. So yeah, we're going to want a tween here. So private tween. Tween dot kill if valid. Oh wait, is that what I want? So I have a question about this. Maybe this is a good time to explore this, but if I play fade out and play fade in, so let's say I play fade in here, but then I do fade out before this await gets hit, is that just going to abort automatically, or am I going to get some kind of error? So if I'm awaiting this fade tween, but it gets killed, so it never emits that signal, is the async... Is async in C# smart enough to know that this is never going to complete? I guess I could try it. gd.print hello. I don't know. So because what I need to do in here is I basically need to do async void on freecam entered. So we're going to do... Actually, we don't need this to be async. Visual utilities dot fade in compass. Oh, I do need to do async here. Async. So we're going to do clickable control, add input lock, await this, clickable control dot remove input lock, and then on freecam exited, we're going to do clickable control dot add input lock, await visual utilities dot fade out, clickable control remove input lock, and visible equals false. Okay. I think that might work, but yeah, I'm just wondering how this is going to work if I, for example, recenter the camera while that's being awaited. I guess we'll find out. So if I do this, so got a couple of hellos there. I actually don't know how that works. Oh, now it's completely broken. Did I do the wrong thing here? Yeah, it looks like this is not working, just generally speaking. Wait, visual utilities fade in. Recently learned that tornadoes are almost exclusively a North American thing. Yep, we had a couple of tornadoes a couple of years ago, actually, right where I live. Tornado came by where I live, and yeah, the carnage was immense. Actually, at one point, it was a couple of years ago, I think. I was without power for 3 days. I literally did not have power to my home for 3 days. Luckily, that was in the summer, so it wasn't bad. But yeah, it was kind of annoying. There were downed trees everywhere, power lines out everywhere. Async voids are fire and forget. They don't have context like a normal async method. Right, but my question is specifically like this await here, it's waiting for this fade tween to emit the signal finished. But if this fade tween gets killed, maybe finished is just emitted when it's killed. Let me think. Maybe that's what's happening. So let's do let's go to tween and let's take a look at the finished signal. Yeah, I don't know. I lived through the May 3rd tornado in Oklahoma. Mile-wide base, not fun. Yeah, they're scary. They're very scary. Although, wait a minute, let's see. Oh, it's just duplicating this anyway, so... I actually don't think I'm going to be able to get this to work, just for a variety of reasons. I mean, I'm going to get the fade to work, I just think that... this fade in, fade out is not going to work. Unless I do some more coordination here. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work, because what this is doing actually under the hood is this is duplicating the fade out material and then adding it every time I call this fade in, fade out through the visual utilities. So I'm actually getting different references, different materials, and so there's going to be some fighting over that, which means that if I'm doing rapid operations like I am here, where I like do this and then I recenter, I'm going to get some flickering there. The other problem is that they fade out. Set progress 0. Wait, do I have this wrong? No, I have that right. Hmm. Why is that happening? Yeah, it looks like there's a problem. So there's some... I really need to make this a tween, honestly. I think that's what I need to do. So I think I could probably wrap the tween. So the problem is these are returning tasks instead of tweens. And I'm getting like an order of operations issue here where this is being awaited. So if I await this fade in, so I set visible to true, I await this fade in, and then I move very quickly. I'm awaiting the fade out, setting visible to false. Actually, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, there's obviously a problem here. I can't wrap my head around it because I'm not just terribly bright. Okay, you know what's going to be easier, I think? Instead of effing around with that, pardon my language, what I will do is I will just add a canvas group here, and we will use this to control the fade in, fade out, which is going to be a lot easier, I think. So add a canvas group here. Let's add this as a unique node name. Transform. Okay, so then I can do fade canvas group. Nope. Canvas group fade. I can put this material here. This should be local to scene. And so this canvas group fade, I believe this has its own, yeah, canvas group fade out material. So I look at canvas group fade out material here. Nope. Canvas group fade out material. We've got this here. So I think what I can do is let's grab the canvas group. I hope this still works. So now I can do my own tween in here. No, this is not going to work either, is it? Because I have the same problem. But I guess we'll just try it. So let's do private canvas group fade out material, canvas group fade out material. Canvas group fade out material is equal to canvas group dot material as canvas group fade out material. Let's do await canvas group fade out material play fade in. Bind to node this. Play fade out this. Okay, let's just see if that works. The context for async is how to resume the method's execution. So what I think is happening is that it's firing task and just continues. Okay. Maybe make a function that takes an alpha value to tween that doesn't care about being interrupted. I can't use alpha, if that's what you mean. Like, I can't do transparency. That's against the rules of the art style of the game. Okay, that is working better. So I think it was just a problem of like I was swapping the materials out under the hood rather than using the same one. Now I still want to see how this works because I'm not entirely wrapping my head around this. So if I do gd.print hello here, I wonder if I will still see that if I interrupt the fade in. I'm going to do this off screen though, so I can just see the... Okay, so that's hello. Yeah, so it's never printing hello if I interrupt it. So that was my question, is like, if I'm awaiting a tween to emit a signal, this hello was here. So this tween is being awaited in terms of waiting for its finished signal to be emitted. However, if I call play fade out before this tween has finished, that tween is being killed and reassigned. And so this line, like the code is never proceeding past this line. And so does that mean that it's getting hung here? Or is it just aborting? Because what I would expect is if like... Yeah, I guess I don't know how await works exactly. But is it what you're saying, Jack Daytona? The context for async is how to resume the method's execution. So what I think is happening is it's firing task and just continues. So it doesn't ever print this hello if play fade out is called basically immediately after play fade in is called. So it's not resuming the execution of this function here. So is it just hanging here? Let's ask the AI. That could be a problem. Let's see. Async in C# is complex, and using async void is just dangerous in general. In Godot, when a tween is killed, it does emit the finished signal before being destroyed. This means you're storing a tween in the field. Fade to when you kill it, the subsequent call, the original awaiting task will complete immediately, which is good, but it will complete successfully even though the animation. But I'm not seeing that. Track and cancel the awaiting task. I don't think this will work either. The tasks are essentially abandoned memory. This is generally okay. And see, I don't even trust the AI anymore because it gave me 2 wrong answers, and now it's just like... what I could do is I could do a 2 task here and see what that does. Because this 2 signal, this returns a signal awaiter. I have no idea. Like, this isn't awaitable, but that's like a Godot implementation. So if I convert this to a task instead, let's see what happens here. When are we going to see your fiance's face on stream? Maybe soon. Maybe soon. Dangerous, but it can go wrong easily. Someone suggested on someone on GitHub noticed a similar thing, and someone suggested swapping await to tween callback. That's not going to work in my case because this method is async, and so I'm basically waiting for this method to finish. I could return a tween out of this method, but then I would just have to do my await elsewhere, so it doesn't really solve the problem. I actually can't tell if this is correct. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. So that didn't make a difference. Yeah, I'm gonna need to dig into this and figure out exactly how this is working. And I don't trust the AI when it says that the garbage collector will clean it up. New task I'm on. I guess this is kind of a good approach as well. So let me actually, let's get rid of this. Let me just, let me have this apply that. Oops. Let me see if that works. That would put my mind at ease at least, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, that is working. So I know you can't see it on my screen, but I'm doing this. I'm doing this rapidly on my screen, and I'm getting a bunch of hello prints. However, now it's just never being faded in. Interesting. Okay, so now it's actually just broken. Looking forward to it. Keep your words. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It's a maybe. Now I think this visibility is being a problem. Shoot. I might have to rethink how I'm doing this, just generally speaking. Let me think about this. So if I set visible to true here and then I await, but then I do on FreeCam exited, play fade out, visible equals false. So now the thing is that it's always going to finish this await. And so that means if I interrupt this play fade out with play fade in, it's still going to continue along here. So maybe I need to modify this. Oh, this is going to be really annoying. Maybe not. Let's see. Shoot, this has the potential to break all kinds of things, but what I could do is I could return task bool here. Return this. Return await. So it will be successful or not. Then we could say var success is equal to that. We always want to remove the input lock after, but we're only going to change the visibility if it was successful. And then here, same thing. Oh, maybe we don't need that here. Yeah, maybe we don't need that there. Let's see. Could you manually finish the fade in tween from within the fade out function and vice versa instead of killing them? I think that's what's effectively happening now. But yeah, maybe I shouldn't kill and recreate them. But there is one thing that I want to do here, which is going to make this look a little bit less weird. Don't reset the progress value. If not, keep progress. Okay. So then I'm going to go here, play fade in, keep progress true. Keep progress true. That might make it a little bit more smooth, I think. And the other thing I might do is I might change the timing here. Let's do 0.25 instead of 0.5. So it's a little bit wonky, but I'll probably need to apply that same change to the other materials where I'm doing something similar. And then what I'm going to do here is we're going to do canvas fade out material set to black. Because I'm not getting that initial fade in. I think that looks fine. So that's working. The last thing that I want to do, so let's do fix async weirdness with canvas group fade out material. Okay. The last thing I need to do is I actually need to do a label here. So let's add a label. We are going to put this up here. Recenter camera. Let's just make this custom minimum size 96. Center. I'm just going to eyeball this because I'm lazy. 24, 33. Whoa. What's the ruler button? M is ruler. Oh, I guess for measure. 29. Okay, good enough. Okay, clickable control, visibility toggle targets, assign the label there. Maybe I'll move it under instead. Let's try there. Yeah, that works. Okay. Goodness gracious. Well, that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but we have a recenter camera button now, and it appears to be working just fine. And if I go here, that will automatically disappear. Very cool. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good with that. Okay, add label. Label to recenter camera button. Excellent. All right, that's been on my plate for a while, so that's good to have gone. Cool. All right, well, didn't get to quite as many things as I thought I was going to be able to get to today, but that's all right. That was a necessary feature, and we have it now. So I'm very happy with that. That looks awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with how that turned out. I was unsure about the art at first, but I think the art turned out pretty good. And then the fade in, the fade out. Thank you for the suggestion to do that. That works really well. And yeah, that accomplishes the goal of making the game playable with the mouse, because previously there was no way to recenter the camera with just the mouse. So I guess I would just want to try this last thing. I'm almost 100% positive this is going to work, but let me just try recentering with the space bar and make sure that that goes away. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good. But yeah, thank you all for joining. Thank you for watching. Hope that was an entertaining stream. I had fun, and thank you all for your suggestions and your brainstorming help. Appreciate that. I have a meeting I need to get to in about 15 minutes, so I'm going to go get ready for that. But thank you again, everyone. Very much appreciate it. And if you like, you can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. That would help me out a lot. You can also like the video, subscribe to the channel. I am working on a new short micro tutorial video, so I'm going to have that out hopefully this week. And also, the playtest is going to be coming up at the end of the month, the newest playtest with all the new changes and everything. So yeah, keep an eye out for that as well. Again, if you subscribe to the Patreon at any tier, you will get access to the playtest early. So there will be a week of Patreon only early access period. A Steam key will be sent to your email address that you signed up with on Patreon for that early access playtest period. And if you don't want to support on Patreon for whatever reason, that's totally fine. The playtest will be available to the public, so to anyone that wants to play it it'll be available to anyone that wants to play it a week after the early access period, and that will also last a week. So Patreon members will basically get 2 weeks of access to the game, 1 week of exclusive early access, and then the week of public access, and everyone else will only have that week of public access. So anyway, enough advertising that. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for being here. Very much appreciate it. And I hope to see you tomorrow's stream at 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay, take care everyone. Bye-bye.